Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are looking at 3 different Lego sets. So Lego has started a Formula One, so an F1 series. So I figured, you know what, we do have at my local Walmart here a kind of pit crew with a Ferrari car, a Ferrari F1, if I can only speak, and we also have a smaller set. It's a McLaren race car with driver. These look like they're about the same size. I was kind of curious about that, and I'm sure that there's others, so I wanted to get that together. And because we do have another smaller set, and I got this really to kind of point this out, there is some licensing that must be involved in this because this is a $10 set and this is a $13 set, so there has to be some licensing for the F1 brand. So these are a little bit more expensive than what it could have been, but it's not overly expensive. Like I said, $10 to $13 is not all that much, and this big set was $30. So when we look at it in those regards, it's not a lot, but it is a little bit of something. Really just wanted to kind of point that out as we get these opened up, and we will go from there. Now we'll start off with our little regular car, because I want to see how big, see the new sets, but how big is a regular car in comparison to the F1 Formula car. And then we'll see how big it is for our pit crew and all that. So it's interesting. Really kind of excited to see how this goes. They do have more sets for this, so we will see exactly where this all leads. There is a lot of sets for the Formula cars themselves, which is another reason why I wanted to find out, because those are about $25 compared to just picking this one up for the 13. Really wanted to see what the difference is, so I may pick up another one or two of the $25 ones later on. Just wanted to see, like I said, how that difference really goes, what we're really paying for it. Now, there's a lot of brand names associated with this, where you have McLaren, we have Ferrari, a lot of other big name car manufacturers with their names out there. So part of it might be because of their licensing and everything else, which is all fine and good, but it is one of those things of, I don't know exactly where this little exercise into all this goes. It is an interesting thing, though, and I am fairly excited to see how this is. Like I said, we'll start off with our regular car, and then we'll kind of get into our F1 and then into our garage for getting everything put together. So as we get going on that, we will see how things go. So keep... let's look at this and see what we've got here. So this is a nice little set. Having the Ferrari and having done the McLaren beforehand, really it's the same thing, just changing out different colored pieces, and it looks nice. It really does. Not a bad little build. I will consider this as kind of our pace car, maybe. Maybe I should have some lights up on top or something. Maybe trying to denote that he is a pace car. I'll have a little strobe red light there. So that'll be our pace car for a race, right? And it's a nice little garage. The fact that it's got a little bit of mechanics in here, so we can actually pull it back, contain it right here. It's just sitting there. The car's not going to really go anywhere. Not a bad thing. Leaving it out so it's spread out a little bit. We have a couple extra figures, so if you're trying to change out the tires or anything else, you have that available. I was trying to figure out what they were doing with the sides, but just never really knowing. It's not a bad set. It's pretty nice, pretty straightforward. I like how they're doing this. I like these base plates for roads. I like that they've gone to those. Really does make a big difference in my little mind. Getting the pieces, I hope they keep doing these for quite a while, because when you transition from being on here to going onto a table or a floor or whatever, it really works good having these little ramps. And I think that's why originally they had those really thin plates. Now I've been getting the thicker plates where it is about this thick to build on myself, but it just is some of those things, right? So having a McLaren, it's a small little set. It is the same size vehicle. It's really the same vehicle, just done with different colors, and it's not a bad thing. It really isn't. It's a good design. Nothing wrong with it. As far as that goes, great little set. Wonderful to have it. This one surprised me. We have a new base plate for doing a car. Now this is because we now have different bumpers and different front and rear bumpers that we can put on, and we can change those out. That is a newer feature that they've done in more recent vehicles. I really have not gotten a lot of these vehicles, but I've seen them, and that's the reason why. It really does flush this out fairly nice. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It's kind of a nice little take on it. Not a bad thing. We have some coverings, window wheel hubs here. Now, whether you want to consider this an electric or a gas or what have you, it's not a bad thing. He does have a trunk, and inside here he's got a cleaning bottle as well as what's supposed to be like a sponge or a cloth, so he can keep his nice car clean. Wonderful little take on it. Nice little design. A little different. It's only a one person vehicle, so I mean it's not like you're going to get a family in here. But being, like I said, if I have this as a pace car, it works out really well for that. Not a big deal. I'll just put the one dot there. After having some of the extra pieces from the other sets that we've been working on here today. So, nice set. We'll see what some of these other ones are. It's piqued my interest. So if it's piqued my interest, we're going to bring it forward, see what it is, see if it's worth something that you're interested in. Being a small little set, like I said, this is $10. This one was $13. I think they got to pay for the licensing for the F1 brand, but it's not a huge jump up in consideration. I mean, as it sits, I've got two cars. I can race them. Like I said, I've got a pace car here. Not a bad deal. They have some of the other ones. I think those are more on the Speed series, and with them being like 24, 25, they may be a little bit bigger. So I do want to warn you about that. I've got a different set I'm thinking of, seeing that I got this, but we'll have to see in the future what I do. I do have plenty of other sets I want to get to, so we have plenty of other stuff. This was a last minute kind of seeing it, having thought about it, but I really wanted to kind of show it, see how it is, and go from there. So we'll take our pace car and our 2 race cars. We'll leave it for the day. Nice figures. We have male and female characters here all the way around, trying to get that representation to see, hey, you know, there are people of different abilities and all that. Not seeing that we couldn't have women, say, feeling it up or whatever, or checking some of the diagnostics. The guys probably a little bit more for the heavy lifting, some of that mechanical stuff. But we do have women that are very talented at being able to work on cars and all that. I'm not going to say that they're not. It's just the whole thing of, is it what we're typically used to? Maybe, maybe not. But it does bring them to the forefront. I mean, there's a lot more women getting into the mechanics and all that than ever before. And it's not to say that they can't get involved in some of this. It does take a lot of passion and a lot of work, even for the guys, to do this. So I'm not going to say that women couldn't get involved in this either. And with that being that, I think we have a good set. Nice couple set of tires, good hubs, nice looking cars for F1 series. Getting it all going in that. I don't know if I'll ever have a racetrack, or quite often with a lot of the F1 series and that, sometimes they're doing road races. So you just cordon off part of a road and you just watch them race around. And Indy, you give your paw of approval? I think she does. All right. With that, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's always wonderful having you here. Indy says hi. And we will see you in the next video.